Fun fact, this video contains an entire farm. Don't believe me? Just wait. Start by cutting up carrots, celery, onions, and a little bit of leeks for beef freezing liquid. It's probably around here somewhere where you started rewatching the video, so that's okay. Welcome back. Thanks for watching again. And the gist of it is that I chose such a complicated dish because I came across a pig's foot in a grocery store and I wanted to do something with it, but also I believe that my 20 years of experience in cooking was a good enough backing for me to be able to do this. It took me a lot longer than I thought it would. In case you're cooking along at home here, what I'm doing is I'm cutting through the two front knuckles after having shaved the pig's foot and used a blowtorch to burn the remaining hairs out. That process took about 20 minutes, so realistically the next part is saute the vegetables. For those of you that can't read French, it reads, "There was once 3 little wolves and a big pig." Once your vegetables look like this, you can add a goblet of port wine and a goblet of white wine to your vegetables to have them deglaze the bottom a little bit. Make sure you let the wine cook off so that way there's no alcohol content in it. You don't want spicy soup. No, there is no time to stop, so I made garlic confit ahead of time. You can make garlic confit by taking a whole bulb of garlic, submerging it in oil, and then cooking it in a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes. Did I mention that my Chinese zodiac sign is a wood pig? Once your vegetables reduce, you can relive your nightclub working days and pour in some wine. So I think I decided upon this dish because there was one day where I woke up to my dad making breakfast in the kitchen in our countryside home, and all of a sudden he stops dead in his tracks as he's flipping bacon. He looks up at me and he says, "You will never guess what's in the yard right now." And of course, after a couple of wrong guesses, I go outside and there's a potbelly pig sitting outside the kitchen window eating all the grass in our yard. Here's the result of having braised it at 350 with about 1.5 liters of beef stock in there. As you can see, hot things are pretty hot. You should probably not touch them. And also, the skin is very gelatinous. You'll have to scrape out all the additional meat with a spoon. This is where this dish truly becomes my doing. So I'm creating sweetbreads because I can't find sweetbreads locally. In 2 of the butcher stores that I have locally, they would have taken like a long time to get and I would have had to buy a lot of it. It's just not worth it for me. So I made my own simulated sweetbreads. Here's the whole process. It's quite the process. In a bowl, combine ground black pepper, a Thai chili, a couple of fennel seeds, approximately 50 grams of panko, about a half a tablespoon of salt, 125 grams of mushroom. In this case, I'm using button mushrooms. You can use whatever you want. I think that some wood ear would be really good in here, or maybe some chanterelles. That is 100 grams of ground pork, 1 garlic clove. It's right about here where I'm going to drop the lore fact that I'm learning a bunch of different languages, and one of them is Korean, because I just like their food. That was foreshadowing. Just wait. Yes, that was an anchovy fillet, and this is 2 tablespoons of 35% cream. That's a tablespoon of sesame oil. This is going to be a tablespoon of oyster sauce, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, low sodium, and then just let your rage out on a bunch of chives. It's at this point that you can pretend that mashing it all together is going to make a difference, and then you grab your immersion blender and make it into a thick paste. Have you ever wondered how sausages are made? Alright, well, let me teach you, but also, okay, so you take what looks like dog poo-poo, and you put it in cheesecloth, and then you wrap it as tight as you possibly can without smushing it too far, and then you poach it over steam for about 12 minutes. If you're going to use the method I used, make sure that you remove the plastic wrap. See, there's no plastic wrap there, and this is the end result. If you don't like dad jokes, cover your ears. That's not pancreas. Let's face it. But they don't taste awful. But the texture, however, is exactly what I'm looking for, in the sense that it's moldable and it still folds like meat when it hits the cutting board, but it doesn't fall apart. And when I sear them, they're going to have a really nice texture on them. And additionally, they're flavored to be like a Korean braised
pig's foot. Chuck ball, I believe it's called.
Terrible pronunciation.
And I don't know. I'm happy with them. Let's sear these.
So you're going to go ahead and sear those over a medium-high heat with the oil that you made your garlic confit with. If you add a little bit of butter, it adds a little bit of a different texture to it. You just want those to be golden, and then you're going to essentially just put them in the fridge until they're nice and cool. Now here, you're never going to believe this, but here's how you make chicken nuggets. Just make sure you cut the chicken breasts into really small pieces. You don't want to destroy your machinery, okay? It's a super simple ratio. It's salt, pepper, 1 egg white, about 200 grams of chicken breast, and then about 75 grams of 35% cream. Just on the topic of blitzing this stuff, don't overdo it. It does become gelatinous. Once both your sweetbreads or simulated sweetbreads and your chicken moussade end up being cold enough, combine them lightly in a bowl. Add some pepper, because pepper is pepper and salt is salt, and if you don't get enough, it ain't my fault. Also, please note that I don't use all the pepper. So for those of you that don't speak French in a very hick accent from the middle of absolutely nowhere, I said it's 2 in the morning. I had started this process at, well, you know what, I'll let you go and figure that out. It's on the oven. Shiny side up, make sure that you butter an entire piece of aluminum foil. Now, I've eaten a lot of really good food, and I've eaten equally, if not more, a lot of bad food. Or maybe just objectively, but let me tell you, when something looks like dog shit, it's a little funny. You have to be surprisingly delicate at this point in the process. It is a mousse, and you do just have to kind of like roll it, but you want it to be a tight sausage so that way you can cut it into medallions later on. If you need assistance in learning how to roll things, just ask one of your uncles. I'm sure that they're probably pretty good at it. And now you could go about poaching this for about 20 minutes in some steam. The main difference here is that this time it's wrapped in aluminum foil to keep its shape, and it's put into a lidded steam bath, so that way you can retain more steam. I know how to make mashed potatoes, okay? I know how to make mashed potatoes. I know that I made them wrong in this video. Don't start. Here's the thing that I did wrong. Just take your mashed potatoes, put them through the sieve twice, add cream, add butter, and where I went wrong is I made these before my sauce was finished, so they got cold and I had to reheat them, which made them very glutinous. Don't do that. Just make mashed potatoes whatever way you want to, okay? But might I recommend adding a little bit of garlic confit to it. It's very good. So another fun fact about why I don't know, I enjoy this pig dish in particular is because my mom's artist tag as I was growing up was the flying pig. Cooking takes time, and sometimes too much time is not a good thing. This is one of those moments. That's sheep stock that I've been slowly adding to a bunch of shallots throughout a large portion of this video, kind of in the background, to make a sauce that I'm going to put on top of the pig's foot. And I added a little bit of port wine to it, so that way it would have a nice darker color. I cook off the wine, and then I add a little bit of butter to it, so that way it becomes nice and glossy. You will see the finished product in a second. Please note how I keep the sauce moving around at all times. That's just something that's really important. You don't want it to burn. Here's the reheating the potatoes process, which ended up messing up my potatoes, and there's the finished product sauce from those shallots. Pigs are pretty relevant to my life. My favorite movie, I think, is probably Spirited Away, and I used to draw a pig in an airplane all the time. Now you gotta admit, that looks pretty good, but those mashed potatoes look a little funny. And then this sauce, it really brings it somewhere different. But then having forgot to make kimchi beforehand resulted in me putting pickled onions on the plate, and yeah, it just looks stupid. But overall, I mean, let's go to Al with the final result. And if I wasn't a poor man, I'd have put this on a different plate. There's some kind of like nice onyx black ceramics with like a sudden high wall. Make it look really nice. I could have dripped the sauce everywhere. It would have looked a lot better. Long gone are the days of 2008 in which no one had to make any call to action for either subscribing or leaving a comment. So if you think I should open a dinner club, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Worth it.
Now, this isn't exactly something that I would make on your average Tuesday night, but, you know, if I were either being paid to do so or I was making a meal to impress someone, I think I would do this again.